Hey there, and welcome to the Confident Woman Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Brooks. Join me as I sit down and chat with co-hosts, friends, and carefully curated guests and talk about all the things that empower you to become your best and most confident self. So, let's get started. All right, ladies, welcome back. So today we have with us Christina Flach. And so right before we hit record, we were just touching base. You're out there in San Francisco where it is beautiful and you are near wine country. And I'm jealous because I'm smack dab center in the state of Ohio. So I get to live vicariously through you. Today, we're peeling back the layers and going behind the scenes, which is really what we do on this podcast.
Yeah.
And is not only just talk about the successes and achievements, but how we got into the works. Okay, well, I am a celebrity makeup artist. I am a CEO and creator of Pretty Girl Makeup, and I'm Too Busy Skincare and Makeup. That's my new company. I am the host of I'm Too Busy TV, which premieres every Wednesday at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I am a philanthropist. I'm a mother of 5. I'm a beauty expert on California Live NBC. I started out working on friends and family. My mom had cancer when I was young. So she was going out with my dad one evening and I said, "Oh, let me fix your makeup." Even though I had no makeup skills and she didn't have very many products, we managed to make her look and, more importantly, feel like the best version of her. And so that always resonated with me. And that's still something that I love to this day with my clients. It doesn't mean not the famous ones or the celebrities, everyone that I get to work with, that I get to make them look like a different version of themselves is always a lot of fun. I started working on weddings and proms and then worked with different photographers. And then I had enough images together to get an agent. And so now I have 3. I'm with Ford, Miami, Chicago, New York, LA. I'm with Zenobia nationwide and Brandy Moore in San Francisco. Those are all my things. Wow, that's incredible. And some of the works that you do leading into the celebrity beauty and starting your own line and your own brand really has been that entrepreneurial spirit. So I'm curious, had that always been with you since a child? Or is this something you kind of, as you were going and growing throughout this whole journey, you're like, I think I'm onto something here? I think I always had that entrepreneurial spirit. Like when I was young, I would house sit for people, water plants, feed their animals. I kind of always had that going on. I'd cleaned houses for a while. So I just do different things. And so it just kind of was, and then I had my children pretty young. But it was a perfect job for me being a mom and also having that creative outlet that I really love. It makes me so happy to be able to do what I do. But it was also very important for me to be a very present parent. I wanted to help in the classroom, drive on field trips and pick my kids up from school. So this was the perfect job for me to do when they were young. As I got older, I could do more shoots and now they're all grown up. I'm able to travel more with my clients and do things like these TV shows that I never expected to do, but I'm really enjoying it. Yes, your shows. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But as you got into the makeup part and you shared a little snippet of helping your mom just not only look, but feel, and it's the essence of feeling. So you're creating that experience. I'm curious with the makeup, had that always been a passion of yours, or did you see that as an opportunity because it brought you joy watching other women feel so embodied by their natural beauty and just enhanced? I think I always liked makeup. I wasn't obsessed with it or anything. I was pretty much a tomboy. I rode horses. I played tennis competitively, junior tennis. And so that was more my thing. And I just started kind of messing around with makeup as on a lark. It wasn't anything that I had planned. I didn't even think it was a job that people did. I mean, I guess I did that there were makeup artists on TV, but that seemed very far away in Hollywood, not something like, me growing up in a small town in Northern California. Yeah. I hear so many stories like that too, because I don't think anyone sets out at such a young age and said, this is what I'm going to achieve. Even though we have those dreams, to know that you're actually stepping in and living it, that's where it comes almost like a surprise. You're like, wow, this is what I'm here for. I love that you're sharing not only bits and pieces of the story, but the through line that leads you into where you're at today. So I'd love for you to share a little bit more. Let's talk about motherhood, because I know that was something you brought up first. And having your kids at a young age and having this dream and this passion, how did that really at the early stages of your journey, how did you balance between the two? Or I assume it's still somewhat of a juggling act? Well, I was very fortunate that I had full-time help. So that helped considerably. I had Manny that would, help. If there was one or two kids asleep, I could take the other ones to do errands or to school or ballet or whatever it was they were, or golf, whatever they were doing. So I was very blessed to have that balance. I also know myself well enough that I learned from a young age that self-care is not selfish. It makes me the better version of me, making sure that I work out and rested, that I drink my water, drink the green juice, lead a healthy life. And that gives me the energy to be a mother of so many and to help my charities and the school and all the different things I do. It's the one thing that I would urge other mothers and fathers to do is take time to exercise and get to sleep and eat well, because it does make a huge difference. But it's also, more importantly, showing your kids how to have a balanced life. If they see that your life's chaotic and you have no balance and you don't take care of yourself, how on earth do you expect them to do it? So it is very important. I read a lot and my kids would see that I read. So inevitably, thank goodness, they're all readers and they're always carrying their book around. And I love that. It's really important to set a good example for the kids, but it's not with words. It's definitely with your actions. Yes. Yes, I love what you said there. Not the words, it's the actions. Because it's so much when we talk about just leadership in entrepreneur space, it all starts with self. So I love that you brought up the health and wellness aspect, because that really aligns with not only the confident woman, but me from the personal side, coming as a former fitness competitor, realizing that prioritizing your health and well-being sets you up for success in the long run. And so making yourself that number one priority in your business, as you are not only just juggling life of entrepreneurship to your personal life to the professional space, that role as a mother and any roles that any of our listeners are holding at this time, prioritizing yourself with self-care and well-being and taking that time to tune in will set you up for that success. So like you said, it set the precedence and the modeling for your children to now see you living out what you preach, right? So it's that integral line. And yeah, it's so important because I think we could talk about it, but are we actually doing the thing? No, it's true. And it's so great now because my two older girls are out of college and I'm so proud of them. My oldest daughter, Melania, is a fashion designer. She studied at Parsons in New York and then went to Central St. Martin's for 4 years. It's the top design school in the world. And she's now a fashion designer and she has her own line. And my other daughter, Rose, is a screenwriter in Los Angeles. She went to NYU to Tisch and she has a business degree. Both of them are doing things that they love, because I've always urged them, figure out what you love doing so much that you do it for free, but then figure out how to get paid and well. I think that they've seen me do that, and I am so happy that they're doing that. We all have to work. We all have to have purpose in life, and it's super important to enjoy what you're doing. It really frustrates me when I hear and see people complaining. They hate their job. They don't like where they live. They're doing nothing to change it. The universe is not going to change for you. You have to do it. You have to figure out, make one little change. If you don't like where you're working, start working a part-time job after work or on the weekends, doing something that you enjoy that fulfills you. Just hearing people complain, I don't want to hear you complain. Give me a solution. Figure out what you want to do and do it. The only failure in life is just sitting stagnant, complaining and being miserable, because you're putting all that energy out, but you're also showing your kids that you have no control over your life and of what you're doing, what you want to do. So it is really important to figure out what brings you joy. Yes, so important. And I think that's a great topic to segue into. Finding your joy and your passion, that spark for life, especially when we talk about the entrepreneurial journey. Sometimes it's like, where do we even begin? There is no cookie cutter, one size fits all, especially for an entrepreneurial journey. And I'm sure you'll share this in just a moment, but when you were coming up into the makeup, into the beauty industry, there are individuals that you were inspired by, but you realize what worked for them is not an exact blueprint for you. So kind of share some of the entrepreneurial journey that you had to endure, like some of the wins, the highs, the lows, the journey that created where you're at today. Well, you're exactly right. There's no cookie cutter. There's no handbook. You just kind of go, oh, I have this idea and I think I want to create lip gloss. How do I do that? So I found a beauty chemist that I worked with for over a year to formulate the texture and the color. And it took so much longer than I had ever anticipated. I literally thought it would be a few hours, it'd be in stores in a week. And I was very mistaken. But I enjoyed the process so much. I enjoyed working with the chemist and hearing what natural ingredients and oils we can put into it to make it long lasting and hydrating, moisturizing, and anti aging. So that was really fun. And I think that it's super important when you decide to go out on this endeavor of being an entrepreneur and starting a business, you really need to figure out why you're doing it. Are you doing it because you want to make a lot of money or because you enjoy it and love it? And if you are doing it just to make money, your chance of failure, I think, is considerably higher because you're going to resent the amount of time and hours and days and weeks and years it takes. It is not as fast. And you can think it's going to go fast. It's always going to take longer. It's going to take much more time, money, effort, everything. So you really need to enjoy what you're doing because if not, you're going to just not want to do it. You have to be relentless. You just can't give up. And I have been so blessed that I have clients and friends that are successful entrepreneurs and business people. That's one of the gifts with purchase of my job being a makeup artist. I get to, work with incredibly successful people in the tech world, politicians, business people. I'm always respectful of their, talking too much or at all. Sometimes I have to figure out in 3 seconds whether they want quiet, they want to talk, or they want me to listen. You're with these people all day long. So I have a client and he's my good friend, Tyler Florence. He's a celebrity chef and he inspires me so much. He has worked so hard and is open to so many opportunities. That's another thing that I think he's taught me. Typically, if someone would have said to me 5 years ago, oh, we'd like you to be a beauty expert on NBC, my first reaction would be, hell no. But I have learned, my friend Berlin Fisher, who is the host of the show that I'm on NBC on California Live, called and asked me to take his place as a beauty expert because he was going to now be a host. And I was like, that's so kind, but no. And he's like, look, you know all this. You don't even have to think. Like, this is your world. You've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That sentence changed my life because every time that we all get that feeling like, ooh, I'm scared, I don't want to do that, I now know that something great is going to happen from that. So, for example, with being on California Live and doing that, we do live segments sometimes, and sometimes we tape ahead of time. Those live segments are a lot of pressure because there's no commercial break. If you mess up, that's it. They've asked you to be on this show. And if you mess up, you're not going to get asked again. The more that I did it and the more that it's been, I think I'm on year 3 now, I have gotten so much more confident and comfortable in front of the camera. And I think that a lot of it has to do with being on all these podcasts. That's helped. But it's also just the pressure of, okay, live TV, it's on, let's do it. It has really brought me a lot of confidence when I speak in public in front of people and in front of a camera. Now I know that yucky, scary feeling is a good thing. I don't need to run away from it like I thought before. I couldn't agree more. Taking the action. Everyone has those doubts, right? Everyone does. And I think sometimes we put individuals on these pedestals if they don't feel fear or anxiety or have limiting beliefs or doubt. But the truth is everyone does, especially going into something completely new. I love your honesty on there because it's like, who, me? I'm a behind the camera girl. I'm not running a camera girl. But now I know I can do both. It's nice having that confidence in other places in your life, knowing that I can walk into a room. It appears that I'm very outgoing and I am very friendly and I'm outgoing to a point, but I'm actually quite shy and private. And so I'm not comfortable going to a huge dinner party with tons of people. I don't like small talk. I like intimate conversation. It given me a confidence I didn't know I possessed. So everything always works itself out. It always does. It's funny. I was just talking to somebody the other day and they said, what do you mean that you didn't have confidence and you're shy and you're an introvert? I'm like, that's who I am. I'm a very private, reserved individual. You're right. I have this podcast called The Confident Woman, and you have your best-selling book and all this stuff. And I go, that's actually what gave me the practice and the leverage to step fully into where I'm at today. So when people are like, but you are this confident woman, I needed this for me back then because I had
Right.
confidence and belief in myself. But to your point, it's about the repetition. You were showing up and just doing it. And I think that a lot of times we get stuck in our own heads. We might know all this information, but while we're asked to step out into a new opportunity or a new place, that fear will come up and say, who am I? But to your friend's point, you already know all this stuff. You could talk about this. So that's kind of the reassurance and the confidence that says, huh, maybe I do know what I'm doing, but I won't ever know unless I step out and give it a try. So I love that.
I do. And I also think it's important to be open to things. When my agents call, I answer the phone. I don't even say hello. It's always like, yes. And they always say, you don't even know what we're asking you. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'll do it because my agents know that I'm not in it always for the money. I like making a lot of money, but when I get the opportunity to work with a celebrity, and if it's for a magazine, they pay nothing, sometimes not at all, I always want to do it because I get to meet some incredible people, work with amazing photographers and lighting people, but it also gives me an opportunity for something that can go in my portfolio that means a lot to me. I was really blessed a few years ago to work with Rita Moreno for People magazine. And that was a big deal to work with someone like that. And Lars Ulrich and all these other different people. I have so many clients I'm so blessed to have worked with, but it's such a blessing that I get to have one-on-one time with these people. Like I get to be Oprah with them all day long. We chat, talk about things. And that's the fun part of being a makeup artist.
Yeah, because you're building your relationships. And I think that ultimately comes down to everything. What they say, your network is your net worth. I know that networking and collaboration is a big part of what you do. Obviously, I mean, you're providing the service, but you're providing an experience. And those individuals are so entrusting in you that when they come in, they know they're not just getting a beautiful look. It's the overall experience of how you're making them feel by tuning in and being attentive. Do they need to listen? Or am I here to listen? Am I here to engage? So, like, you're reading the individual, but that builds that rapport and that relationship with the individual that wants to keep coming back and be a part of that inner circle or into your space. I would love for you to share a little bit more about networking and collaboration because I think as we're building businesses, we're building brands, we're building ourselves. How important would you say networking and collaboration is into your success, at least?
Oh, it's everything. It's truly incredibly important. I always thank my agents, the day that they ask me, or, I let them know that I arrive. I thank them for the job. I thank the producer or the director, whoever had me on set. And before I leave, I always make sure, thank you for having me. I'd love to work with you again. Here's my contact info. People appreciate that I show up on time. I do my job well. My clients are always in a good mood. I always get complimented from my team that I work with. That celebrity was really happy with you. I start off with an aromatherapy hand massage. So they're always like eating out of my hand after that. A lot of my job is making people feel good. And I don't think a lot of makeup artists realize that. They think they're just making someone look good and that's enough. It's not. I always make sure, do you want some water? Would you like a cup of tea or coffee? What can I get you? I always tell them, I'm here to take care of you today. So let me know what I can do to make your day more pleasant. That is why I get hired back and why people refer me jobs because of how I make people feel.
You're not in the beauty industry, you're in the people industry.
And absolutely.
And
And
that's
I,
sometimes is
yeah,
forgotten because we focus so much on the outcome. Am I doing a good enough job? Or did I make enough money? It's about service. And I love what you're doing.
yeah. I speak a lot about beauty from the inside out. It's about being a good person and be happy. But I try to teach all my clients, whoever gets in my makeup chair gets my chat about, are you hydrated? Are you sleeping enough? Are you exercising? Are you putting sunscreen on? Are you drinking your green juice? What are you eating? What products are you putting on? It makes my job easier when my clients are rested, when they're hydrated, they're fed, all these things, then it makes my job much easier. When someone comes in haggard and tired and not taking care of their skin, there's only so much I can do. If someone's exhausted and in an angry, negative mood, it's really hard to get them out of it. So that's why I do all those things. When they feel that you really care about them, they open up to you and they're really grateful and they're going to do a better job, which means you're going to get hired back again.
Yes. It's all about being hospitable. And that goes back to the place of service. I love that because it's all part of what, again, experience. So there's how many beauty makeup artists and celebrity artists out there, but it's like, how do you personally stand out so that you can have that repeat customer, the repeat transaction, be connected and the agent's calling you back and you get that phone call. So obviously, all of this is really big into what you do, tapping into the business side, the entrepreneurial side. You're essentially building your personal brand because you are the brand. So I love for you to share a little bit more about bringing this full circle, especially when we talk about here's a passion, here's an idea. You're a young girl who sees an opportunity to just make your mom feel pretty and just celebrate that. To years down the road, you're getting callbacks from top celebrities, being asked to come on to host shows. Did you envision all this stuff?
Oh my God, no. I could never have envisioned all of this. I would never think that I'd be hosting my own show. But when I look back when I was growing up, I have watched more talk shows as a young girl. I watched Oprah, Phil Donahue, Mike Douglas, Barbara Walters, amazing. I think I actually have been training for this job as a TV host longer than I realized. And then when you're on set and talking to people, you're kind of interviewing them in a way. You ask them questions and finding out about them because I find it fast. Everyone has a story, as you know, right? They don't have to be famous. They don't have to be wealthy. They don't have to be successful, but everyone has a story. And I always find it fascinating to find out, okay, what is their story? So it's a lot of fun. And, with my new show, I'm Too Busy, I am on my sixth guest. Today, I'm having Jim Peterson on. He is a former NBA player, the commentator for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was also a coach in the WNBA, and he is also my oldest child's godfather. I'm being really awful, and I just have all my relatives and friends. I'm like, can you please be on my show? They can't tell me no.
I love that.
Well, I'm thinking fine.
Yeah. I always think of this. I go back through my life and I'm like, I kind of already knew the direction where I was going because I had an interest in this. I had a passion in that. I had experience in this. So I'm piecing these little bits together. Everything we've ever wanted in life was been exposed to that in some capacity. They're the fragments shaping us into who we are today. Tying in those passions, the creativity, the inspiration, the joy, the overall experience of what you're providing, but also enough for you to say, wow, I want to come back and do that again. And so coming full circle, obviously building your personal brand, there's so many other competitors out there and so many other lines and brands and celebrity artists. How do you stand out in a way other than what you've shared that really makes you feel so confident that you're like, yeah, I am this confident version of myself and I know where I am in this industry?
That's a great question. I didn't realize how much of my brand I was. So I'm my brand and my brand is me. Being a makeup artist helps my brand and my brand helps me being a makeup artist. So they go hand in hand. Days when I'm not doing a photo shoot, I'm doing interviews, creating new things, writing articles. I like that because it keeps me interested. I don't get bored with one thing. I'm not someone that can go to a cubicle and sit and work all day. That would make me crazy. My sister, on the other hand, is a very successful executive for Costco. She knows when she's going to work, when she's getting off, when she's going on vacation, for retirement, all these things. I, on the other hand, have zero idea. I'm sure I give her a heart attack with my life, but it's just very different. She's good having that sort of life. I like being more of a gypsy. I kind of like having freedom to do something different every day. Doesn't mean I don't work hard. At the beginning of the year, I went with Tyler Florence. He had a show called Great Food Truck Race. We started in Houston and went all the way through the Gulf Coast. And we ended up in Miami, and I was gone almost 2 months. And I've never done that before. In between that, I went to the Super Bowl for a week. I work with Nickelodeon and Paramount in the NFL. Two of my clients are hosts for the Super Bowl on Nickelodeon. So that was a lot of fun. So it's always different. I'm always meeting new people, which I find fascinating. Year after year, like I work with this, one of my clients is the president of Visa. So this is my third year. I go work with her. They do a whole conference, and I go with her. I work with Maria Bartiromo. She's on Fox. When she's in California, I do her makeup. And so it's fun to be able to see, and I have some other clients on. She's Caroline Heights. She is on Bloomberg, and she's in New York, but she comes out here, San Francisco. So I get to see her, 3 or 4 times a year. So that's fun. So I have relationships with these people, and that's really, really a blessing. And it's nice for them as well that they know what they're getting with me, and I know what I'm doing with them. Inevitably, people will refer you to other people. So I was really blessed. Last week, a friend of mine referred me to work with Zach Posen at Gap. He is in charge of recreating Old Navy, Banana Republic, and Gap. It was so interesting because he had gone to Central St. Martin's and Parsons in New York, where my daughter had gone. We had that in common, and he was so incredibly nice. He was like, FaceTime her. I want to meet her. He chatted with her on the phone for like 5 minutes. It was so generous. That's another thing I would urge people to do. Ask for help, ask for advice, ask for someone's wisdom. People that are successful are more than happy to help you. You just have to ask and get your ego out of your way. I usually compliment them and go, okay, how did you get this to this place? Like, what do you think I should do? And people are so generous with their time and will help. People think, oh, I can't ask that CEO. Yeah, you can. Just ask. If they can help you, they will. If they can't, they can't. But you've been given this person in front of it's sitting in your chair. Why wouldn't I ask their advice? It would be moronic, right?
You seize that as an opportunity. Part of your business has been built on the branding of yourself just being you. When you build that like relationship, it's like you got a personal brand. A lot of times personal brand means it comes with the long bios and everything, but it's like, no, you are the brand and the brand is you, as you said. So who is Christina?
Who is she today? But it's true. I watched so many talk shows when I was growing up. I'm on set with so many people that are on TV. I learn from them how they look at the camera, how they interact, lighting. Is it your friend or is it your foe? If you don't have it, it's your foe. But there's all different things that you can learn from people. And if you're open and you look, you've got a whole world out there that's going to make your life better. You have to decide what you want. The clearer you are with what you want to do, the universe will help you. It's when you're not sure and you're like, oh, I don't know what's happening. If you're confused, the universe is confused. The clearer you can be about goals, the universe will help you. Some days I'll be like, okay, life is slow. I don't have any shows. I don't have any clients. And I'll say, come on, universe, bring me some jobs. Inevitably, there's another job. It's another thing that I think is important. I follow up with people. If things are slow, I will send notes to different producers I've worked with. Hey, I'm around. Do you have anything going on? Would love to work with you and your team again. I definitely do a lot of that. I have my assistants. They will send out different things to different event coordinators, different people that require hair and makeup. So we'll put together like, okay, these are new jobs that Christina's done. Here's a new TV show. We'll show different things. So people will see all the different things that I'm doing. Sometimes that leads to someone going, oh, I know her. Someone I know needs a makeup artist. Call this woman. The more effort you put into whatever it is you're doing, it comes back. Mm-hmm. But you have to, it's not going to just happen. You're not going to just sit there and wait for the phone to ring. No, you need to, put up my portfolio. If you go to ChristinaFlach.com, we are constantly adding new content. We add interviews that I do, photo shoots that I do, blogs that we write, all these different things. It's constantly getting tended to. You, especially as a makeup artist, you constantly need to be adding jobs. And then I'm, scrambling like, okay, I worked with William Sonoma a couple of weeks ago with Jeff Latham, the celebrity florist. He's amazing. I love him so much. And he was so much fun. I was up in Sacramento doing the Christmas catalog for Williams Sonoma. And then I was looking, there was an ad out on this website that I sometimes get jobs from that had a job in Sacramento the next day for it was called it's on a show on Hulu. It was Playmate Murders, like Playboy Playmate. So I worked with two Playboy. So I just sent them my portfolio and they called me 10 minutes later and they're like, oh my God, you're up here. We'll hire you for tomorrow. So even at the level I'm at, I'm still scrambling and hustling for jobs. I like to work. It's fun. And I like making money. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, when you
Because
can
I like spending money. So I have to make it.
it's that work and play kind of balance, I love what you're talking about because you just see the opportunity and any chance you can because you're so passionate about the works that you do. And, if you get rewarded and you get paid, that's the bonus. That's the cherry on.
It's totally the frosting. And you also have to learn to pivot because right now I charge obviously a lot for what I do. The economy's kind of crappy right now. Things are not ideal and not everyone's going to want to pay $500 for me to paint their face or pay me $1,500 or $1,600 for a day. They're not going to do it. So I have to be like, okay, what's your budget? Well, let me see if I can work with it. And if it's reasonable, I will. But then there's times where I think, okay, I want to work with these people, this team. I'm not going to make my normal day rate, but I'm going to work my ass off and they're going to remember that. And then maybe next time they have more of a budget and I can get my normal day rate. You just have to know you can't always be rigid with your pricing. Sometimes you have to put a sale out. We do that sometimes on Pretty Girl. We'll put out a sale or different offers. You just have to learn to pivot with whatever the environment is. If things are great economically, people will pay. But when things are slow, then I have to go, okay, I've got to lower my prices sometimes.
Mhm. Yes, I love that you're flexible. Sometimes we're told that this is the price, this is farm. If you want somebody cheaper, they won't do it as good of a quality. Sometimes there's like the fear factors of those, I guess, kind of myths or kind of the things that are impressed upon so that the individual doesn't change their prices. But I see it both ways. And I like the way you put this in perspective that you're not discounting your prices. You're willing to work with the individual because you know in the long run it's going to come back to you. And so you're willing to be flexible and you're willing to meet the individual, but you're also firm on what you bring to the table and knowing where you stand. And that's the confidence that, listen, I've been in this business for all these years. I know what the outcome is. I know what I bring to the table. And I know what I can do if I can just show you and having the opportunity to show.
Absolutely true. But that took years to get to that place.
Mhm.
I do before and afters on all my clients. If someone contacts me and they want to hire me, I'll send them 10 before and afters. I mean, they see my portfolio, obviously. They see my client list. But if they go, oh, you're so expensive. I'm like, yeah, I am. And I deserve it. Look at my work. I know what I'm doing. The photographer is going to have to do way less touch after post because I've done my job properly. There's not a bunch of flyaways. The makeup looks good. It's not too much. Like I know what I bring. And I tell people like, look, I'll lower it to a point, but you get what you pay for. With me, my makeup kit is up to date. It's clean. Everything's good. I've seen makeup artists show up with their own makeup bag that they use on themselves. That is the biggest absolute hell no. The makeup brushes have to be cleaned while on set between each client. And then when you get home, they have to be sterilized. My makeup kit has to be organized all the time because I could get a call right now from one of my agents going, you need to be in San Francisco in an hour. So I don't have time to organize my makeup kit. It's got to be ready to go out the door. So I do take a lot of time and care into doing those things.
Yes, and it shows. That's what this whole conversation is about. Knowing you, knowing what you bring to the table, what makes you different, what stands out from one celebrity artist to you. And you've already curated that whole content just by really the experience. And it's coming back and it's paying you, in, transactions that are happening in the future to even current ones now. So you'll get those callbacks, which would really it brings more confidence to you as you're constantly growing and evolving in your business, but also in your brand, which is you, Christina Flach.
Mhm.
It's like you're inspiring confidence, you're embodying it yourself. And when you look at the full big picture of your journey, what's something that you would say, aside from what we've already talked about, that really empowers you to step into your best and most confident version of yourself. I think I've done so many photo shoots now that when I'm on set, I feel at home. I feel so good. I'm confident. I know when to step in. I'll say to the photographer, coming in, give me a second. I know everything. It's not scary to me anymore. I know what I'm doing. But that took years of learning. I also learned with clients, we all can make a mistake, like the eyeliner misses, or you stick the mascara in their eye and it's all over. Never show fear. Another makeup artist told me that. Do not ever tell them that you messed up. Just fix it. They don't need to know, because if you show them fear and they think that you're insecure and not confident, oh boy, you're in big trouble, because they're depending on you to make them look like the best versions of them, because they have to go on camera. And if they don't think that you know what you're doing, they're like, oh, hell no, I'm not going in front of a camera looking like a mess. So you have to fake it until you make it. You got to be confident. I take a lot of pride in my job. I love what I do, but I'm always learning and open to new techniques, new products. That's one thing with the beauty industry. There's just constant change, constant new everything. With what I do, like for commercial work, it's not about, we all enjoy watching TikTok and Instagram and all these people that go on and do crazy things. And it's so fun to watch, but that is not real life. Sometimes I don't have time to do this contouring, baking, this whole thing, right? I have to have people look like normal people for magazines and TV. When you're looking at someone on TV, you are just looking at their face going, oh, they look nice. If I'm working with a fashion house like Gucci or Louis Vuitton, they're very clear. The clothes, the fashion is the focal point, not my makeup. They don't want it to be too much, because then it'll be distracting. Clothes are the things. You really have to know what they want. You have to listen to the client. You can make suggestions, but you can't just do what you want. And so when I feel like, when I need that creative outlet, which I do sometimes, I will work with different photographer friends of mine, different models, different stylists, and I'll get to just paint away however I feel that day. I've done my most creative jobs. My friend Richard Stu is just this amazing photographer, and we've done tests. That's what you call it, a test when you're not doing it really for anything. We did this one, the first one we did together. I put this like flower crown together on a model's face, and then just did her makeup. It was flawless. That is my favorite image in my portfolio. Wow. And then I also did some really amazing things with my two glam sons in New York, Tanner and Nicholas, with a Russian model. I got to be creative in a way that and then to see those in magazines now, it's like, wow, that's why I'm saying, if you love what you're doing and it brings you joy, success will follow.
Yes, and that's a beautiful way to wrap up today's conversation, is because you're doing that, you're embodying it, and you're living your best life, that it just exudes into the confidence and the output of what you create. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful way to kind of wrap up today's conversation, and you provide so many like tips and strategies. So listeners, go back and take notes, because this is wow. I loved this conversation. It's so cool because you've really taken us from beginning to full circle. And I think
Thank you.
that's one of the coolest things about, for me having these conversations, is I love to see things come full circle, where it's like, it's a part of who you are. This is your identity. This is your livelihood. This is what lights you up. And I think that confidence comes from just owning that and just embodying it. And so I just want to share that that's what I'm receiving on my end.
Oh, thank you. That's so great.
Yes. And so, of course, we always love to share with how they can find you, how they can connect, and just learn more about what doing as this journey continues.
Well, everyone can go to prettygirlmakeup.com. We're offering a 25% discount with discount code prettygirl. Go to christinaflach.com to see episodes of California Live and all the different photo shoots I do. And then if you go to I'm Too Busy TV, you can see all the episodes of my TV show. Love it. So, of course, all will be in the show notes below. So be sure to check them out and give Christina a follow. And of course, if this episode resonates with you, be sure to reach out and let her know.
That would be lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and thank you for being here today and just sharing your wisdom and your.
My pleasure.
Hey there. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of the Confident Woman Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode as much as I did, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. Thanks again for listening.